Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Creative Minds podcast. I am your host. It's Ram, and we are in season two. For today's episode five, we have a very special guest. Now, this guest is no stranger to the show. We've seen them on tours, we've visited some of their builds, so it's an absolute pleasure to have them be with us here today. Before we get started, I do want to hope that you guys are all having an amazing Saturday so far. I hope that your week has been something that has been refreshing, energizing, and mentally stabilizing for all of you. We just got into April just recently, the fourth month of the year, so we're already breezing through. That being said, I do hope that your year has been kind and generous to all of you. You deserve it. And yes, I look forward to having more episodes and more seasons to come. So, just want to let you guys know how the show is going to be running today. So, the Creative Minds podcast is done in three segments. The first segment includes the general introductions. That's where we do the greetings, the icebreakers, those opening conversations to calm the mind, calm the nerves, and just get the flow going. So, the second segment, following right after that one, is the interview segment. And this is where the majority of the episode happens. That's where we ask the questions, we cover a different variety of topics, and we just have some real in depth conversation to really understand, how deep these designers and creators go when it comes to not only their craft, but their way of thinking and planning and formulating in general. And of course, following after the third and last segment is where we do the closing remarks. Now, that includes the wrap ups, the final statements, and of course, the thank yous, because I always say it's very important to show appreciation and give thanks to everyone. Very, very much important. That being said, I do hope you guys enjoy the show today. I know I will. So at this moment, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce those joining me for the show. Morgan and Nokoda, how are you guys doing today?
Hello. I'm doing great today. Um, yeah, Rem mentioned the usual that we're doing for the stream, but also, well, I'm pretty sure it's obvious by now, we are starting earlier than usual, 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
but it's obviously to respect the time of of today's guest. Oh my, I'm misspeaking now. I'm usually always nervous in the beginning of these streams, but anyways, how are you doing, Nokoda?
Hi, hello guys, and thanks for having me here. I'm doing very good. Hope you guys are doing great too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am. I'm just so hyped to finally have you on the show because ever since you came in, your presence in the community, your builds have been phenomenal. I think every
Right?
designer can attest to seeing you basically come in as a sprout. And I feel like, when you reach
Mhm.
Shadowbringers, you lose the sprout status. I feel like it only took you like 2 weeks to lose your sprout
Right.
icon.
You're too kind. Thank you.
And yeah, and I bet like the most number one question that everybody here is probably gonna want to know is like, how do you do it? Like your speed and your precision when it comes to
Um,
designing.
to be fair, I do have a lot of free times, most than most people, I think. I do work from home, and it's a pretty chill job. Not gonna lie, I have my computer for work and my computer for gaming on the side, but I can pretty much do the same at the same time, the both at the same time. So I do have the
Oh,
luxury of having a lot of free time.
oh, and during your free time, like how was that how you got into 14? Was it like just something you discovered?
When I got into 14, it was during my previous job, which was a pretty stressful one, and
Hmm.
I didn't have fun anymore on my other games. I wanted something
Ooh.
fresh and new to meet some new people and just try something new, basically. And at that point, it was during the you probably remember it, the big Exodus, where everybody was coming on FF during
Oh,
Shadowbringer.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, at that time it was a pretty hot topic. FF
Mhm.
14 was very popular and still is, but it was exploding at that time. So this is where I arrived.
So
Oh.
you are like one of the contributors to our that the queue times that we were suffering early on Walker, huh? You were one of the people in
Okay,
my
they weren't that
queue
bad.
getting me
I
logged
am
out.
guilty. I remember these freaking big queues. Yeah, it was
I
massive.
think we all remember here. Oh my. Oh, but to add on to that, was it housing that drew you to 14, or was it something else?
Actually, fun fact, not at all, because I didn't even know there was like housing in the game. I discovered it thanks to my
Oh.
first FC, and they're
Mhm.
still my buddies to this day. Like we disbanded long ago, but we're still vibing in the game. And when
Hmm.
I joined, I was level 30 or something. It was pretty early. And instantly they were like, oh, come at the house to meet the other members. I was like, what? The house? We have a house? What? So I just teleported there, and it was pretty well decorated. Everybody had a room and everything. So I saw that and I was like, oh shit, okay, this is my new goal. So from there,
Okay.
I just speed run the MSQ and everything else, and I started to gather guilds to buy my first room, and I
Hmm.
think I got into housing 2 months after starting
Mhm.
the game, and I just focused on that since then.
Oh, so that was your big motivating factor for the game once you discovered it.
Yeah, I already loved the game before. It was very nice
Mhm.
and very refreshing. I always adored MMOs. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, this will be my main game for sure.
I don't know. I feel like us housing designers, we sometimes some of us can neglect content, cough cough Morgan. Um,
Um,
but I think we do a very good job at getting things done just so we can focus on have more freedom when it comes to doing housing. Like when we're creating our housing alts, right? Speed questing to level 15 so you can be able to unlock your dies first and foremost. Like it's little things like that. We're actually not right in the head, you know, to just do that multiple times on different characters. Some of us
Oh dear.
even,
At that
boost
point,
as well.
yeah, at that point, I feel like speedrunning early Ulda MSQ is
The
like a
best
side thing for every
design.
designer.
Yep.
We are
that's basically
speedrunners.
routine now.
Yeah.
That's like our
Like,
collective experience that we all have.
mhm. Oh, but yeah, I don't even notice now whenever I like level up in alt to like 15. I just like do it within an hour. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. Now I can do what I
it
want.
feels like muscle memory at this point. It's like you learn to ride a bike the first time and you
Like,
just you just never forget. You just breeze past it.
and especially the auto run features makes it so easy. I can just auto run, alt tab, and then go watch a YouTube video. I then come back. Like, oh, I'm here.
I can relate.
Okay, Noko, I have a question. Right? I want you to name 3 housing items
Oh.
that you, one, cannot build without, two, think is like the best housing item we've ever gotten, and three, a housing item that you think just doesn't make sense.
That's tricky. It's hard to tell because I have some builds since I try to use the most items possible. I have
Mm-hmm.
some builds which don't have any items in common,
Oh.
but
Oh.
I would say I'm tempted to say the Hingan bookshelves as one of my favorites. I use
Mm-hmm.
them a lot because I started with Eastern designs, and they are just so great to make floorings, trimmings on walls, and even ceilings. You can do pretty much everything with them. So I would pick this one for like my top tier item.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the second one, maybe the wood slat. I mean,
Oh,
they are just so useful all
Oh,
the
that's a
time.
meta pick.
Yeah, it's pretty meta, yeah. But yeah, it's like if you remove the slats, you cry. See what I mean?
true.
It's just so useful.
That is
Um,
true.
for a nonsense item,
Mm-hmm.
um, every Mughal item. No, I'm joking.
Hey.
Nah, you can still use the antenna of the Mughal to make planets
Some
and stuff
lamps,
for like
yeah.
Yeah, I've
some
seen them
lamp.
being used for like lanterns.
Yeah, that's
Little
great.
light.
But one item that I think I never use, the mobile thingies, I never use them.
Oh. See, that's surprising because a lot of them have that really nice gold attachment that they have on the back where they attach to the wall. I'm not describing it right, but I'm sure people know it's like this bar, but like most of them are gold or they're like some kind of metal and they work really nice for handles. So I'm surprised by the answer. I thought you would
I
use
didn't
one
know
by
that.
now.
I'm gonna write that down.
You know, I actually, it's so funny, Tisha saying who would use those anyway when he literally just did a
What?
build using like all of the marble items. And they were bullying me under that post. Tish, Panda, and Alora, I was gone
They're
for
all
the
getting
entire
exposed.
day. And I came back to so much notifications of them cyber bullying me. I had to go call my therapist to get some help after they did.
Was it because of your tier list from last
Yeah,
time?
that is the reason why they're doing it, because of the tailors. They're like using that against me, and I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate
Send
it.
me the bill. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. So now that we've had a little bit of a, discussion, I want to ask again, how are you feeling? Are you nervous? How's the energy? How's the vibe?
um, I'm a tiny bit nervous, I guess, because I'm not used to speak English for that long. But it's
Hmm.
okay. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
It's great being there. I'm still like, how to say that? It's weird, kinda, for me to be there because I'm gonna confess something to you too, as designers. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking
Uh-huh.
at your builds when I was a baby, you know what I mean? Like when I was starting to do my first things in my FC apartment, I was looking at the Discords, the Housing Snap and stuff, and I remember seeing both of you online, and I was like, oh shit, I will never be that good. And I was trying to understand how the fuck do you do these amazing things, and it was a big motivation for me. So being here today, it feels kind of special.
Oh my
Oh,
God, that's so sentimental. And honestly, I can throw that right back to you because the
right?
rate of bills and just the style that you've created for yourself, it's like
Hmm.
it's so versatile. You can't even be boxed in because you've done a variety of different things. And I remember I told you this the last time while we were visiting one of your builds, that ever since you did the loft build where you did like the large platform lofts, I would always see builds like that. Not builds, I'd always see designs like that on Pinterest. And until you did it in the game, that was just like my, okay, I'm keeping an eye on you because you are about to just trailblaze with the type of designs that you create. And that's exactly what you did. So honestly, if I contributed into motivating you in any type of way, I'm super glad that you took that simple motivation and reached a level that I don't even think I am at right now. So shout out to you. You really did your thing.
Hmm. Oh, and to add on to that, I remember you would always tell me that I'm somehow so consistent with layering, but then I go and look at your work, Nokoda, and I feel like you're better at layering than me. Like you're so
No, no
consistent with your
way.
work too.
No way.
And that's something I envy because I am not consistent with my work. You've seen how many books I put out this year.
But the thing with your work, it's like fine wine, you know? We don't see new ones often, but when it comes, holy shit, man, you are so good.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's gonna wrap up the first segment, you guys. We're gonna go and jump into segment number 2. Now, this is where the bulk of the episodes are, as I mentioned before. And yeah, Morgans, why don't you start us off with the first question?
Ooh, okay. So I know I asked a similar question earlier about, what got you into 14, but we're gonna go and specify more about your housing aspect. What made you get involved in housing, and has that changed in any way?
The thing I like about creative stuff in general in video games, so including housing or G-posing, anything that falls into that category, is that you create your own content, so it's unlimited content. When you do raiding and stuff, which is amazing, I love to do raids back then, but you see what I mean. When you beat the raids and stuff, at some point you are just done with the game. And it becomes boring because you are just so used to it. But when you create something, you can always be like, oh, I want to try this today, or I want to do that. And you also meet a lot of people. And I would have to say meeting people was probably my biggest motivation, because every time you build for someone, it's a potential new friend that you meet. It's not just a client and you do your thing and it's like, okay, bye bye, next. You meet a lot of great people. And for example, the FC I'm currently in, it's actually the one of a client, like a past client. And during the commission, we vibed so much that we became very good friends and we sticked around in the game together. I got invited in his FC at some points, and I met other people in the FC, which became friends and stuff. I got friends on other servers, and this is the big thing. It's like a big community. It's something very great, and everybody is very nice in that community as well. So it gave me the juice to continue to build, and it's like two things. It's that and the creative aspect of it. The fact that there is no end, really. As long as you are curious and you want to try things, yeah, you can just keep going. You vibe and you try ideas, and it's nice. It doesn't have an end.
That is so
Ooh,
true, honestly.
yeah. I think, oh, how do I formulate this? Oh, but I was going to mention about that community aspect that you mentioned. I think, yeah, it's really nice now that we have such a large housing community within the game. And, like, so many people are just able to, jump right in and, get to know the system of housing and, share content freely like that.
Yeah, that's great.
That was kind of one of the things that I was really considering when starting this podcast. I was like, is this really like a viable thing to do? Because to me at the time, while I was like planning and trying to work out functionality and trying to be like very realistic with it, I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to be something that can really be consistent, because yes, there is a housing community. At the same time, I was like, okay, but is there going to be like enough, designers? And I like what you said in terms of the community and it kind of being a little bit endless in terms of the innovations and the things that comes out of the communities. Like every day you may see something from seasoned designers or even newer designers. And in recent times, we've seen some designers just take the world by storm. Recently, we've had that one designer doing all of these amazing concepts in terms of just rooms and exploring different styles, and that has been so refreshing to see. So it's just things like that, the community as a whole. There's just not one thing for any one person to do. Like, you don't get put into a box of where, okay, if I'm gonna design, yes, Val is the designer. It's not gonna be one of those
Yeah,
things where it's like, okay, I come in and I'm restricted to doing only this thing. It's entirely up to you. Even if you're like a commissions designer like myself, yes, your clients are essentially controlling your creative expression in a sense of the idea or theme that they want. But at the end of the day, it's still up to you on how you execute that. So there is no limit. So I'm
yeah,
really glad that you
exactly.
said that.
That is amazing. Like the Netflix build, holy shit. It was so good.
I remember like I was sharing that build with some of my friends, and they were like, how did they do that? Like, I don't get it. Is the screen photoshopped or something? And I'm like, no, it's actually
Yeah, I
done
think
in
a
the
lot of people
game.
thought that at
It's
first.
in the game.
The first time I see it, I had to take a double take because it looked
Right?
too real for me. It's kind of scary, if I'm being honest.
Oh, but going back to the question I just asked Nokoda, how long have you been designing for?
Um, the first thing I've done, it was I think in September 2021, if I'm correct.
Oh wow.
This is where I got my small house. The small house just behind us, actually. It's my first and last house. I will never move from here
Oh,
for that reason. I
you got
really
Oh,
did.
memories here.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I got it, I had to be tactical a little bit because the first house I got was in Goblet, but it was a shitty ass house. No, it was very bad. It was in a very bad location inside the Goblet, super far from everything. I had a view on a big wall. Yeah, amazing. So
dang.
I just grabbed this, and the reason why is because back then, we had to spam the posts. And the
Mm,
houses
yeah.
in Shirogane, you always had like 20, 30 people on it. So impossible. So I saw one in Goblets. It was up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait, I don't know, 6, 7 hours. Then I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna try to snatch it. And I was watching like a movie on the side. I was just waiting for it to go on sale, and I was the only guy on it. Nobody was there. So I got it eventually. I think I spammed for like just an hour or two. It was pretty chill. And after that, I waited for the perfect location in Shirogane to be on sale. And when it happened, so this plot, it was the one I absolutely wanted to have. I just relocated. And holy shit, I think some people wanted to throw eggs at me when it happened.
No, I can definitely understand because it kind of pierces your heart and kills your soul, especially if you've been like clicking for so long. And then it's one thing if
Mhm.
someone
Yeah.
wins the plot, but to see someone win the plot and have a house on it, that is like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I felt so bad. I was like, oh no, guys, sorry. I'm sorry, people. But yeah, I never moved from here after. And I actually got super lucky because the large just next door, the plot 30, I own it on an alt character because it was a client.
Mhm.
I got pretty lucky on this one, so now I will never move from here.
Oh.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I want to. Shall we go take a looky?
Oh, we're gonna take a look.
Yes. Did you design
Okay.
the yard for this as well, Lakota?
Yep, I did both gardens and the insides.
Oh, this is actually really nice. I like the little stone pathway that you have going around what is this? The cherry tree? Yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
I like how you use your space here with like the items that you put. It really does a good job at like blocking out, but not making it look like, okay, I'm just blocking this out. Like it's very much still lively and it feels intentional.
Hmm.
I like to do gardens a lot. It's pretty chill.
We're different in aspect. I don't like doing gardens. I feel like I'm bad at them.
I could never
But I
make this
always
item work ever.
oh the treehouse. This one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I like how it's here, where you like connect it with the pathway, and you have this under area where you're using the what is this? The Oriental grass
Oriental.
plot.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yes.
spicy
Okay.
grass.
Yeah, the expensive grass.
We really need some competition for this grass plot. It's too good for no reason. There should be something else, you know?
If they add something else,
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be like 2 times more expensive, just to spite us.
True.
They added something at some point. I don't remember the name. I'm bad at remembering names, but you have something that is the same size. Instead, it's like little flowers, but it's very low. It's not
Oh.
like high grass, so it's pretty
Isn't
low.
that
But
from Island Sanctuary, the item you're talking about?
maybe.
I think I
don't
know which one you're
remember.
talking about. Did it have like red and yellow flowers in it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. I don't remember the name either, though.
it's
Me
pretty
either.
cool to have this
Me
stuff.
either. Another collective housing designer experience.
Yeah, but
It's
I can see the item in my head that you're speaking about right now.
it's that one item, you know?
Yeah, it's that one item. Red and yellow flowers. Yeah. I thought about using it in my yard, but I was like, I don't know.
Oh. So wait, so
Oh,
you mentioned before, right, that you started off like doing more of the Eastern styles. Is this one of your first
oh,
houses?
Nah, it's not one of my first, but it's getting a bit old now. I think I did this one a year ago or something, but I like it. I just wanted to have a little like an office or something for
Mm-hmm.
business shenanigans.
I like the entrance here. Is this the glade bed that's going up top for this little arch?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I don't really see that item too often for the arch, but I really like that shape.
Yeah, it's nice. We need to have more slanted and arch items.
Right? I've always been saying that. Oh, we
We
need
got too
more.
many square items.
Yeah, we need arches, maybe some more half circles that are more easier to use. A single slat. Let me just have one long rectangle to work with.
True. Honestly.
Oh, but I really like how this frames into the wood slats that you have sticking out a bit. That little arch piece.
You know, I really love how, so you know those like the Japanese things. That's what it's like reminding me of. I don't know the like name for it,
Um,
but you know like those the Japanese pillars with like that same arch pattern.
oh, I know what you're talking about. The name is escaping me though, but yeah, the shape is a little similar. Um,
Oh wait,
I don't know the name.
as I was asking for the address, is it okay if can we share the address, Nakoda, for this
Yeah,
build?
sure.
Okay, I
Yeah,
will.
totally.
Let me Google it, cause like I know what you're talking about, Rem, but the name is escaping me. I want to say they're like Torii Gate. Yeah, it's a Torii. I think that's what you're talking about, right? A Torii Gate, Rem.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can see the similarity with the shaping.
Walk us through your design process for this build, Nakoda.
For this one in particular, I think the first thing that I've done was the floor. and I pretty much built everything around the floor. I usually start by just the foundations, so flooring, the walls, the ceiling, just to have the shape of the build and be like, okay, this is the space I am working with, and I got like a global ID for it.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's in place, so once I was done with the custom wooden floor around the place here, the little thing in the middle for the desk and the ceiling, then I started to do the layering. So I added that wall art thingy, the little slats on the side, the details, and at the very end, I do the coloring, and I add the tiny quotes easy items, so like the tabletops, the cushions on the
Mm-hmm.
floor,
Mm-hmm.
the little things to make it more live.
Oh,
So you do your clutter last, basically.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's interesting.
that
I
way.
usually do both as I go. Oh, but continue.
Yeah, sometimes I do when I know exactly where I am going. I can do a little bit of clutter at the same time, but I try as much as possible to keep it for the end, because sometimes you're building something and you go like, oh shit, okay, I want to change this whole wall section, and if you already done your clutter, then you have to tear down a lot of things. But if you
Yeah.
focus 100%, like 200% on the foundations,
Mm-hmm.
it gets easier to change the course of your build, like midway. You can be like, oh, okay, I want a different ceiling. I'm gonna change that wall, blah, blah, blah. And you don't have a lot of things laying around that you have to touch again.
Mm.
Basically, just like you would do a house in real life. Like you do your flooring, ceiling, walls, blah blah blah, and once you have your, I like to call it the shell of the house. It's like the
Mm.
skeleton. And once you got that in place, and you know it will not move, and it's like it's done, then you can go 100% on the clutter, the coloring, and do whatever sort of layering and trimming with the slots you have left.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be to keep the item economy in mind when I go for it. I'm like, okay, I need to do my skeleton, but at the end of it, I need to have that many slots to do my layering and stuff. Otherwise, I will be fucked.
No, that makes total sense. So there's something that I'm seeing here that I really want to point out. I've been looking at it while you two were talking, right? So your butterfly specimen. I like how I don't know what item
Oh,
you're using to have it just look like it's hanging there as its
Oh,
in a
own
it's
item.
yeah, it's the wall fan, the yellow fan
Oh,
Yeah.
thingy.
I'm going to note this down because I don't know, I've just
But I
been
like
watching
that.
it.
Is that four of them or is that two? Do they have two little ropes dangling
It's
down?
yeah, it's two of them, like sideways.
Oh, okay.
I like that. I
Interesting.
like it a lot.
I can see that being used for like a cafe sign too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, true.
Especially now since we got that new that small board item. It's kind of just like the butterfly specimens, but smaller in a sense, and it's more flat. So you have way more customization possibilities that you can use them for. I think something that I also can really appreciate in this build is how diverse your color palette is. There's a lot of bright colors in here, but it's so well balanced. In addition to that, not only that, but the textures, like having the bit of stone in the ceiling as well. I just think, I don't know, it's so
Oh,
impressive. It's so, so, so impressive to me.
Thanks.
Yeah, you even have that like structural support connecting with the slats and this is the mahogany aqueduct, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I spam them quite a little bit.
Yeah. But they
It's
work
a
well here
big
because you're
item.
adding more depth to that ceiling. I like that with the lights too.
Okay, let me grab a seat here.
But yeah, all the different levels going on here with the clutter and everything, especially with the way that you made this like sunken living room type setup or like seating area. I mean, it's really nice. It adds a lot of depth to the build.
Thanks. I kind of did the opposite in the. If you want to go check the large after, we can maybe do a little tour over there. It's kind of the opposite. Everything is elevated a tiny bit, and here it's sinking a little bit.
No, definitely. We
Oh.
shall definitely check it out. After all, I mean, that's why you're here. We're gonna get into your brain, ask you a
Mhm.
few questions about it. So, of course, I would love to um check that out. But I like that you mentioned, how you start your builds and stuff of that nature. So, I wanted to ask you, following that topic, how would you describe your creative process?
Um, mm, Let me think for a second. Um, I think the three first question I like to ask myself is, of course, the theme, the layouts, and the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So I go like, I want to do something Japanese. Okay, so this will be my theme. Do I want to be modern Japanese or more traditional Japanese? And when I'm set on the theme, without even thinking about all the details, all the clutter and everything, I just go in my head, okay, this is the theme I want to go for. Because for each different themes, you kind of have an item pool, if you see what I mean. You know that you will use Hingan bookshelves, that you will use slats, fools, thresholds, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pretty much already create some sort of box in your head, and you throw all the different items that you know that you will use inside. You're like, okay, this is what items I will be working for because this is the theme I'm aiming for. Once I'm at that step, I'm thinking about the layout. I'm like, do I want the build to be tiny and very detailed? Do I want to have some sort of elevated lofts? What rooms do I want to have in there? Like, do I want a bathroom, a kitchen, blah, blah, blah? Or do I want to make just like this, like just an office? So I take a strong stance on my layouts, and usually when I start, I never deviate from it. It's like I will make a living room, a bathroom, and a kitchen, or I will make just an office. And I'm dead set on it when I start. So I cannot know how much space I will use and how many items I will need to have for that. And lastly, I'm thinking about the vibe. Like, do I want it to be bright, open, like very luminous, or do I prefer to have it very dark and like moody? So
Mm-hmm.
that's my type of builds personally. I like to be in the dark. I'm a caveman. So I like to be in the night. So all my personal builds, they usually use darker tones, so dark wood, red, that type of colors. And I always go for that sort of night moody vibe. And that's about it. That the three things that I focus on when I start. And after that, I improvise a little bit. It's like I know where I need to go. I know what I want to build. I know what colors and textures I will need for that thing. So I got my informations and I can work on top of that.
Honestly, so much respect for you because I'm the type of designer I will have like, so I use IRL pictures as my inspirations for my builds. I would just find an angle or something that I really like that suits the specific theme that the client asked me for. And that's what I go with. And then I try my best to build around that. I don't have like a plan or anything. Morgan can attest to this. He's seen how like
Yeah,
chaotic.
I don't have a plan either when it comes to building.
I
Oh,
just see something and I go with the flow. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. That's how
Mhm.
my builds go typically.
actually, one thing I could add to what I was saying is I like to work on what I like to call the central piece. So in every build, I have like a central piece and I build around it. So that's usually what helps me a lot to start a build and do them fast because I don't have to think about everything else when I do the centerpiece. And
Oh.
since
Mm-hmm.
everything is connected to it, it kind of snowballs, if you see what I mean. The first
Mhm.
50-ish items, they are always difficult to do because you have the blank page syndrome. It's like, oh shit, my
Yep.
house is empty and I need to start from scratch. So what I like to do is first focus on the things that I absolutely know that I will build whatever. So like the door. You will always have a door. So yeah, let's make the door. You see what I mean? Like I do that first because I know, yeah, anyway, I need to do a door, so better do it fast so it's done. And for example, for this build, the first thing that I've done was the door, but then just after I've done that thing, that wall here with the plants and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really wanted to have my office in the middle with some sort of foresty view behind it and some windows. So when the house was empty, I started with that wall and I just put all my attention on it. Like, I need to finish that wall. That's the main course of the build. And from there, I was like, okay, so this is done. This is cool. So now what can I do? I had my flooring done also at that point. I knew my room would just be a square.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to do the wall on each side and it's kind of just snowballed from here. I started to
Oh,
improvise at that
okay.
point, and when you get a couple important things done, I think it gets easier to do all the rest. Usually the problem is starting your build, but when you started and you get beyond a certain point, you can just let it roll.
Mhm.
No, I agree with you, especially when you said my house is just empty. Like looking at the blank canvas is the most difficult part for me. And I always tell my clients this. I say,
Yeah.
your house, if I accept your commission, please don't go into your house and be shocked that there is nothing going on. If you just see one rectangular partition in the middle, don't even think about it. Like I always try to reassure them that it may look
Yeah.
like I'm doing nothing right now, but trust me, I'm doing a lot. I'm processing a lot. I'm thinking about a lot. You just can't see it yet, but trust me, please. Like it's gonna be worth it.
There's a vision.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
way, to be honest. It's the same for me. Like, I usually spend more time planning the thing than actually building. I would spend 3 days just drawing on my book. I got a little book on the side of my
Oh.
desk where I just. It's very bad. I don't show it because it's extremely bad. I'm not good at drawing, but I think putting it on a paper sometimes it helps. You just do a square on a paper and you're like, okay, so I'm gonna make my door here and I'm gonna make a window here, okay, blah blah blah. You try to visualize the thing, and it helps to have something solid on which you can start to draw.
Hmm.
And when your brain clicks and you're like, oh, okay, this is the thing I want to do, then I start to work on it in game.
I don't know. I can't. I like I heard some designers like Danny, right? I know she's also one of those who shares the sentiment of drawing layouts out and planning
Mhm.
the rooms and stuff. I cannot. I've tried to do it multiple times. I just can't. Me, I'm the type of person where I need to struggle until it works because my spontaneous way of building, it runs me into a lot of issues. Sometimes, and again, Morgan can also attest to this. So I would just like do shit and hope that shit fits. And when I'm proud of something and I take a screenshot and I send it, I'll be like, yo, Morgan, so what do you think of this? And half of the times, the first thing or one of the first things he says to me is, Rem, can you please center this?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember it was a recent screenshot that Rem sent me. I was like, I didn't even mention anything else. I was just like, I just zoomed in on a portion of the image and I was like,
It's
center
the
this,
elevator.
please.
It's the
And it
elevator.
so but drawing like your plan out for like a build, that's something I tried in the past and it didn't really work. It didn't really help me out. I don't know. I just couldn't convey the ideas that I was thinking about onto paper. Because I was like, I don't know. It just didn't work. I'm also like Rem, where I kind of just like I see something online, I'm like, oh, I want to do this, and I make it in game real quick, and I'm like, okay, where do I go from here?
Well, I mean, at the end, you can take it to certain degrees as well. Like some people, I know Alois do that a lot. She goes
Mhm.
very deep in her planning. Like she will actually do some. She's an architect at that point. You know, it's very good planning. But mine's, yeah, it's pretty bad. I just throw a couple lines on a blank paper and I'm like, okay, tack, 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 tack. Okay, it's enough just to help visualizing the thing. But you can do 20% planning and 80% throwing stuff and hope it sticks. Or you can go the opposite and do 80% planning and 20% improvisation. I would say I do 30 or 40% planning. So I try to plan my stuff, but I don't go too deep into it because at some point you kind of have to, you know, to see if it will work in game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true. Hmm. Okay. So speaking of seeing if things will work in game, right? Um, is there a particular style or theme of designs that you gravitate to and why?
Um, at some point I would have responded Modern Eastern because this is my this is where I started and I used
Mm-hmm.
to only do that all the time. Sometimes I would do like a wooden cabin here and there, or I would try to do something else, but I used to stick to just a very limited pool of themes, and the main one was Modern Eastern. But I actually have a pretty fun story here, and it will echo with your stream. Remember when you
Oh,
invited Venzel?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I like it's funny to know that maybe we'll hear that. I don't know if he's here or if he will watch it, but I like to see Venzel as my mentor because what he said during his podcasts, I pretty much have the same mindset. I just do it for the sport. I love to build and I find it fun, and nothing matters and except that. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, just the vibe. It's just so fun to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he told me, um, housing is a open banquets, so better try all the dishes if it's free.
Ooh.
And
Oh, okay.
every theme, every item is a new dish. So some people will come to the banquet and will be like, okay, I like modern, I will do modern. But they will never try anything else. And at some point, they will burn out because You cannot eat the same thing over and over and over and over again. At some point, you need to refresh yourself and try some different things, even if it's scary. I remember the first time I tried a cyberpunk build, I was afraid of it. I was like, shit. I accepted a commission. The guy wanted a cyberpunk bar. I never did a bar before. I never did a cyberpunk build before. I had no idea what items I needed to use, but I said yes. And it was like a couple days after I watched the podcast with Wenzel, where he was saying, don't be afraid to try new things. It's super fun. You know, trust me, just do it. And it really pushed me, even after when we were talking together on Discord. It was like, dude, you need to try some other things. I want you to expand a little bit. And I just gave it a shot at some point. I was like, fuck it. We will see if it works. If I fail miserably, I will just give back the money to my client, and it's no big deal. I will apologize and say, "Hey, sorry. I thought I could do it. I cannot. So here it is. I pay you back everything. Sorry." I was ready to do that if I failed, but I wanted to try. So I visited a lot of cyberpunk builds, and just to see how it was done, like what items were used. And kind of to echo was what I was saying also with the item pools. I needed to know the item pools of the other themes that I never tried before. So I remember I was emptying my house at that point, and I was buying every items that I thought could work for a cyberpunk build, just to have them and to look at them with a magnifying glass. Like, okay, this item, I know I can make fucking walls with it. So, okay, I need to remember this one. And this one, I know it's pretty good to do layers. I saw that a lot in Wenzel's build and other cyberpunk builds, so I will keep that in mind. And I was making a list, like a lengthy list of everything I needed to have to make a cyberpunk build. And in the end, it turned out pretty okay. I was very happy with the results. My clients was very happy as well. Good vibes, good time. So it kind of unlocked something in my brain, and I started to not care about the theme, but just about the idea itself. So if it's doable, if it's fun, I will do it. If you ask me, like, hey, do you want to build like a couple days ago, someone asked me to do a swamp, like a Shrek's swamp.
Oh.
And on paper, it was fun. I was like, oh, okay, I like Shrek. A swamp, yeah, I can see that. You can make like the ground, you can use like the cumbled wool, the cumbled rugs. My English is terrible, sorry. You can use rugs and dye them in like a brown to make it look like it's
like
the
mud.
brown. Then you can sink plants. You can use the disgusting goo rug, the little monster thingy.
Yeah.
If I put it in like gooby bag brown, it can looks like mud.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a fun idea, and I thought, hey, I think I can do it. So let's go. Let's just try it. And since then, I pretty much take any theme ever. I guess the only thing I would not like to do would be like a casino, like a Mughal casino or something like that.
No,
Like,
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
there are a couple themes I would not do. I like my houses to look like something you could see in real life to certain extents. And if it's too crazy with Mughal all over the places or whatever, yeah, I will not do it.
Okay, but
But
I'm gonna
yeah,
call you out then, because
Oh,
you're not gonna do like a full Mughal house, but you're out here creating Shrek. Are you gonna see Shrek in his
that
swamp
is
in real life,
true.
Nakoda?
Well, I
uh,
mean, you kind of
I
could.
mean, yeah, if you go in the forest and you find a very old wooden cabin in the forest next to a lake or something, you know, you get the vibe. It's kind of like in
Yeah.
Shrek, yeah.
I
And
could see
yeah,
it.
Shrek is
I'm gonna
real.
have to Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Rem. I could see it.
I'm just
But
playing devil's
I really,
advocate, you know?
but I really liked your response to that question, Nokoda. That's very well thought out. I hadn't really considered that sort of perspective when it came to housing, and I just found that really interesting to hear.
Yeah, but especially thank you for telling us that quote from Vansel because in
Hmm.
terms of housing being like a banquet, you should try
Yeah,
everything,
it's an
especially if
amazing
it's
one.
free. Like that is so eye-opening to me.
Actually, I got a second quote from him, which I also think is amazing.
Lay it on us.
It's
Lay it on us.
it's
Oh.
like items are just pixels, and you need to use pixels to do whatever you want to build. So a chair is not a chair; is pixels arranged on the shape of a chair. It's pretty mysterious to say it like that, but if you use, like, for example, Hingan bookshelves, it's not a bookshelf. It's just pixels that has the shape of a bookshelf, but the back of it
Oh.
can be a wall, the side of it can be a handle.
Yes.
And we kind of all do that naturally, I think, when we do custom furniture
Hmm.
and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that is pretty, I would say, unconscious in the designer's mind. But when you actually think about it, like, oh yeah, it's just pixels, then it kind of unlocks your perspectives because you can start using items that you would never use before.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I would use that because the few pixels you have on the back of this item, yeah, I can do something with it. And you start to open your eyes on a bunch of items that before you would have never used. At least that's what it did for me. I used to have items in my mind that I thought, yeah, I will never use that. It's nah, I don't like it. Nah, never. And after I heard Wenzel talking about his view on items and stuff, I was like, man, it's right, actually. You can use whatever the fuck you want as long as you get the good pixels to make your thing that you have in your mind. Let's go. It's just pixels.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like just building with the shapes in mind. That's something that I like to do. And I remember sharing
Yeah.
a shader in the MH housing server that literally just shows you the outlines of an item. Cause like, guys, use this. You'll just see shapes. No need to look at items.
No, because I think even one of the joys of when we see new items being showed and the like, the previews, I can't remember what it's
Hmm.
actually called, but for us designers, I think when we see the item, we look at it for what it is for like 2 seconds, and then our minds immediately goes to, okay, well, I can definitely use this part for a window or
Yeah.
something like that. So it's like a collective thing. Before we move on, I just wanted to pause and do a quick little intermission to just give ISO a very, very, very huge shout out and thank you for all of those gift subs. I truly, genuinely appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much.
Oh
Really
yeah,
does help
amazing.
out.
Oh.
Y'all are too good to me. First, I have lovely guests agreeing to come onto the show. Then I have you guys coming to watch all the time. And then I have those of you subbing, following, just tuning in. I genuinely, in my heart, I should save this for the end. But oh my God, I love y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's y'all have me breaking character. Oh my goodness. I'm supposed to. Oh,
Well, to be fair, Ram, we don't really stick to much of a script. I mean, we're breaking character all the time.
that is true. That is very much
Nah,
true.
you deserve it though. You put out very great content, and I think you're a very good host as well.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
deserved.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mark, lead
Oh
us.
my.
Lead us into the next.
Oh my god, I kind of got lost. What were you
We're on four. Four.
Oh no, but, okay. Mm. I had to readjust myself. Okay. So I know we talked about yeah, we sort of talked about themes and styles, and you gave us this really well thought out response about how, it's not really about themes and whatnot. Um, but what about your housing designs? Is there any that gave you what you think like the most accomplishment for yourself? Like any that just like wowed yourself after you were done?
Um, hmm, um, there is a recent one I was very happy with because it pretty much mixed out two themes I'm very fond of. It's Art Deco, so pretty much Amoroutine stuff,
Oh.
with Eastern stuff. And I feel that it's not something you usually see. Like you see Japanese builds and
Mm-hmm.
you see Amoroutine builds, but the idea behind was I remember my clients saying, try to imagine if Amorot was in Japan. So I was
Oh.
like,
Oh.
huh, that's a funny way to interpret it. It's like, okay, so I will use a lot of marble and stuff that I usually use in Amoroutine builds, but I also
Mhm.
have to keep that Eastern vibe with like the plants, the bamboo, the lanterns, stuff like that. And I wasn't sure if it would work at first. I was like, it might look too all over the place and weird. I don't know. And he also wanted to have a strong orange accent throughout the build.
Mhm.
But in the end, I think it turned out great. And I remember being super happy with it. I was like, oh, okay, nice. Yeah. You know, when you finish that build and you're like, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it was pretty unique. And I also got that feeling the first time I finished the cyberpunk build because they are very spicy. They use a lot of tiny items and they are pretty special because of that. I feel you don't see a lot of these. So the first time I pulled one off, I was like, oh nice, okay, I can do it.
Mhm.
Very,
I
very
like like,
proud too.
oh,
Because I don't know. I feel like with me, I'm kind of. I wouldn't say I don't try everything at the banquet or at the
hmm.
buffet. I just have a favorite dish. You know, and I just go and I take all of that one.
A dish you can't get tired of.
Oh yeah, I can definitely feel you though. I was 100% like this for a long time, spamming Eastern designs all the time because I do love them. So it will contradict a bit my previous response, but if there is one theme that would stick out, like if I had to choose one theme I would need to do and I would be like forbidden to do any other themes, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably pick Modern Eastern because it has a
Oh.
special place in my heart.
Mm. I also in regards to like this having a style, right? I'm not sure how you guys approach it, but to me, yes, I love modern so much, and I do agree.
Mhm.
I did take some of Vansel's advice because he did kind of call me out a little bit on my episode, in regards to how much rectangular partitions I use and just but it's not really like him calling me out, it's just him like telling me like a different perspective that this is not like the only item that I can use in modern builds to create, my walls and my rooms and stuff of that nature. So what I try to do when I create my designs is, yes, it's modern, but I try to do it differently every time. And I think I
Oh,
do
like a
a
new
pretty,
take.
yes, I feel like I do a pretty good job at in like showcasing modern in a different way or in a different theme. Like the
Yeah,
first time I did
100%.
the that nature build that was showcased on the Foxconn something stream where I did the modern platform in the woods. Like that to me is trying new things, but still also staying true to myself and what I actually enjoy. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually one thing I like a lot in your builds. It's like it's modern, but because modern by default is a pretty neutral theme, you can take it a bunch of different ways. You can do modern but add some sci-fi elements. You can do modern and
Mm-hmm.
add some Japanese elements or some wood elements. You can do something oriental. So modern is not really a theme. It's more like an approach. And I think you do really great with that because all your builds look different because you do different takes on the same modern vibe, but they are still your modern things. So it creates some consistency between your builds and it creates your character as a designer, but
Mm-hmm.
you can still experiment with a lot of things.
Absolutely. And that is good enough for me. I love that, you know?
Oh, but that is something I love about modern. It's like a very like a broad perspective of design. There's
Yeah.
so much you can do with it.
Absolutely.
Oh, but speaking about the design you mentioned earlier, where you combine Emerald with a Japanese sort of vibe. Um, since this was like a new concept and like for any, sort of concept you approach, how do you find inspiration for a build like that or any other builds you've done in the past?
Um, for the inspiration, it's hard to answer because I don't really look up
Mhm.
things online. I try to avoid as much as possible looking at other builds because I'm
Mhm.
always afraid to accidentally replicate something, in your subconscious. Like maybe I saw a very good share custom thing like 1 year ago, and one day I will do it naturally without thinking about it. I try to go blank. It may sound scary, but I like to go in my house and be like, okay, um, let's go. I will not look at stuff online or whatever. Maybe I will look some things in the game. Like I will go in Amarok and look around. Then I will go in like Kugane and look around. But most of the time, yeah, I just go from blank.
Oh, okay. So you've never like used Pinterest before or like, design magazines or anything of that nature?
Not really, no.
Oh, wow. I think that's a first for this.
Yeah,
The first
usually
designer that has never used Pinterest.
usually everyone has like external sources that they use. I know something that's been common is we try not to use designs that has been created in the game just for some more like, creative freedom with how we express or execute some of
Mhm.
our designs, but we refer to more IRL because you can really go a step further. But hearing that you are a crazy, crazy, crazy potato, Nokoda.
Yeah, I don't think I could just like go in blank for a build and just be like, I know what I'm doing.
I don't definitely cannot do that. Impressive. It's very much
It
impressive.
is.
I guess my problem was like at some point I was thinking about it, but I'm like, if I'm using some inspiration like from Pinterest or whatever, I'm scared
Hmm.
of being stuck inside of it and be like, I'm just recreating something in the end. Even if you can
Oh.
tweak it and everything, you can try to turn it around. Um, I feel happy when I just go from scratch with nothing but just my tools and like, okay, let's just do it. And whatever happens, happens. And at the end, I can look at my thing and be like, okay, I made this. Just like YOLO style, kinda.
Dang. Wow. Wow. I'm actually kind of speechless. I've never, wow. Because usually with me, I would, even if it's I'm watching a show or based on like their background, because there's this YouTuber I watch, she's on vacation right now, and every day she uploads videos. And where she is right now, I've been wanting to just recreate the room she's in, and I find so much pride and joy in being able to like see something and wanting to recreate it in game. And if I can successfully come close to that concept and still add my, little rum touches to it,
Hmm.
that gives me so much joy and satisfaction, especially if it's like a commission, because I have so many different concepts in my head that I want to implement, and I try to do at least one of those things with every new commission. So it's actually the opposite for what you do is what I do. I'm on the completely opposite end of it.
But that's amazing because at the end of the day, the fun factor of it is the important part, and we all
Mm-hmm.
have different brains. So I think the best way is not to find the best way; it's to create your best way
Yep.
that will resonate with you. It's like if you feel proud and happy about a way of doing it, just go hard focus on it, and you will have fun and you will like succeed.
Man,
Wow.
we're getting so much
This
quotes from this
I know
from
this
this
this has been
episode.
so philosophical. I'm just like getting new perspectives on everything I've ever learned in housing. Oh my
Welcome to the
goodness.
Creative
Oh,
Minds podcast, you guys. Welcome.
um speaking about perspectives, and I know you mentioned that you sort of just go into builds kind of blank. Um, was there any point where you've built that you felt extra critical about your designs? Like, has your approach to housing, do you think that affects that in any way?
um, You mean, I'm not sure to properly understand the question. If I was like
Mm,
critical about my way of doing it?
like, yeah, in a way, like it's sort of your process, or maybe like how, like when you're finished with the build, have you ever just been critical of your own work, like in general?
As in the sense of
Um,
like it's not good enough, or
Yeah.
it could be better and stuff of that nature.
yeah, I do sometimes when I finish my build, I can be like, yeah, maybe I should have done that differently, but I try to not look that much in what has been already done. I feel
Hmm.
like on the moment when you do something, you may feel very happy about it, and then you look back a couple months later and you're like, oh, yeah, it was not that good. So I try to not be critical about it. It's like I finish my build.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm happy with it. It looks good. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe it's not that great. I don't know. If my client is super happy and is like, oh yeah, it's super great. Thanks a lot. And I feel like there is a good vibe around the house and I'm happy with it. I did my best. My client is happy and he knows that I did my best. And then I just move on and I try to keep it as an experience and I will think about it later. But I try to not be critical with my builds because I think you may sometimes fall into a spiral that can be
Hmm.
dangerous if you do it too much. You will think, oh no, I'm bad. It's not good enough. I should have done things differently. And I think it's better to just trust yourself and go all in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Stay focused, just do your thing. Don't think too much about it being perfect. It will never be perfect. It's not possible. Um, just do your best. Be happy. If you feel happy, it's nice. On the spot, if you don't feel happy, maybe rethink your build. And at the end, if both you and your client are happy, then the job is done and it's good. And you can still use that as an experience for later and grow from it and learn stuff from it.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I think I do, especially when it takes me a while to post a new build. I tend to, see how, especially if there's new items and I haven't incorporated those new items and I've seen people use them in so many different ways. I kind of put myself in the situation where I feel like, okay, seeing how well people have executed these items into some of their designs, I need to also, I set a certain standard for myself with my builds. And that's part of the reason why. I'm not sure if you remember the FC room that I did this year. That I do annually. I do an apartment or an FC room as my first design. I kind of was not too proud or confident of that build just because of that. I felt like, I mean, I'm already working against a lot by not being able to, float things from below, the
Mhm.
item limits and stuff of that nature. And I just thought that it wasn't up to par or meeting a standard for myself. So I like hearing you say that because it is very humbling. And I feel like if there are designers out there who do the same thing that I do, it's a very important message for us to hear. And I say us, including myself. So thank you. Amal
Mm.
asked if we are going to visit your large house. Should we head there? Should we go to the large and take
Oh,
Yeah, sure,
a
why not? We
lookie?
will have a bit more space.
Yes, that as well. That as well. I'm
Also,
excited.
since you mentioned the floating decks that I used to do a lot at some points,
Mm-hmm.
you got I got one in the large next door.
oh,
Ooh.
One of these floating decks I used to spam a lot.
oh, it's over here. Okay.
Sure was such a pretty location.
It is.
Yeah, I love Shirogane, especially that tiny island. It's super nice.
Oh, and look at that. Another beautiful yard.
Thank you.
I just like how you like map your yards out. Like it's just the
You have all
walkways and
these different
everything.
pathways.
Yeah, so well executed. Like I wanna see inside. What I'm most excited for.
Oh, the little stepway here. Oh,
Oh my god, I want to point out something before we go any further. So you see how you have the same doorway here, right? Same kind of door theme as you did in the small as well.
oh,
Yeah, I
So
wanted
go ahead, go ahead.
I kind of wanted the two plots to be one plot split in half. So they have the same items and the same vibe kind of going on.
yeah.
It's so funny that you say that because do you guys remember Iridessa? She's in
Yes.
modern, she does more so like modern design. So her large personal is this exact plot, right? And the small that we just came from, that was empty, but she also owned that plot. And she was looking for someone to design that plot. She was looking for a designer to design it, and they had free reign over the type of design they put in. So I messaged her and I was like, I'm interested in designing this commission. Like, I think it would be super dope to design for another designer. And she was like, oh my God, yes. Of course, you have free reign to do whatever. And I came into her personal and I looked at how she designed it. And I wanted to do the same thing in the small house. So it's kind of reversed. So I wanted to match the theme, use the same items, have like really similarities to show that it's kind of like it's not its own individual thing, but more so an extension of what it is. And the moment I turned around and I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, definitely the same vibe and thought process that you had for this build.
Oh, you know what? Surprisingly, that's something I haven't done yet. Like doing like sort of like a mirror build or like a similar style of another, plot that a client has owned.
Honestly, if you get the
It's
opportunity to, I would hands down say go for it. It's so fun. And I think one of the most fun aspects of it is yes, you're matching the theme, but also trying to make it not look exactly the same. You're going to have so much fun getting over that
Yeah,
yeah,
like
challenge.
an interconnected
definitely
look.
agree. I think one of my best experiences with that kind of process was for big clients I had a long time ago. A guy who had a lot of houses on like on some sort of server where you had a lot of spaces available, and I had to do 7 houses right next to each others in the same theme. So I used the same door for each house, and one house is basically the bedroom, another house is the bathroom, another house is the kitchen, and each house is a different room of the same house that I splitted onto 7 different plots, kind of. So
Wow, so
it
they
was
had a
a
whole
very,
mansion.
yeah, basically, it was a very fun
Well, you know
process to
what?
do.
I've always wondered, like, I've always seen those sort of like large scale commissions with like you just mentioned it, and Vanzo I know has done something, and there was another person we're seeing on Twitter, like where y'all do like these whole like district type builds. How do you even begin to approach that? I know this is going like a little bit off topic, but that's a personal question of mine. I always wanted to know that.
Oh, well, so yeah, that was a lot of planning process for this one. Um, uh, it's kind of the same approach than you would have on one house, but you just keep in mind that you will have way more slots and you will have to separate each rooms. So instead of being just in a large and going like, I will put the bedroom here, the kitchen here, the living room here, instead, you're like, each room will be its own thing with a lot of slots, but it has to be consistent. And to make it
Hmm.
consistent, you have to use the same item pool. So you
Uh-huh.
will always stick with the same colors, the same textures, and stuff like that. And you can use some elements to link them together. In that case, it was the door. So that doorway that I have in my build, I actually did the same in the large combo. And every house has that same door in the entrance with the little arch thingy above it. And I also have tatamis all around, a bunch of bookshelves and things. So it's the same theme, the same items, color, and stuff, but it's different layouts. So it feels like it's just one house, but in a lot of different houses.
Hmm. Yeah, then those kind of projects must be a huge time commitment then.
Oh yeah, I think it took 2 weeks because I was
Oh.
like building every day, all day, every day, and yeah, it took something like 2 or 3 weeks. It was pretty intense.
You know, that's actually surprising to me because you just said like 2 weeks so casually. Like usually for me, that's a long time for like one build. I'm like, oh, but that's like compared to you, that's like speed to me. Like, oh, a bunch of builds in 2 weeks. Dang.
I'm actually doing a commission like that right now. So my current um commission, they filled up all of my slots. And they
Oh.
wanted like a large scale sauna type thing in their FC. So
Hmm.
it's basically they wanted to have the lobby area, which I think I teased a little bit somewhere. Um, so they wanted to have the lobby and then with like a main public sauna area, and then they wanted 3 separate rooms that is just different rooms within the sauna, just private. So I'm very excited to complete that whole, thing as a whole. So I'm kind of thinking, should I post it individually or should I just post it as one whole completed thing? So
Oh yeah, that's tricky because you finish something, you're super proud of it, and you're like, I want to post it, but you still have to finish. I remember like what I've done for that big combo is that I just kept everything kind of secret, and then
Mm-hmm.
I decided to share every house, and it was one every 2 days. So I would tweet one,
Oh.
wait for 2 days, then I would tweet the other one, wait for 2 days, and at the very end of it, when I would post the last one, like the main one, I posted the video tour of everything together.
Oh, like one
Oh.
like big mega project kind of posting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bansel did something similar. I think he had like a mega thread at one point.
Yeah, it's like the what's the name of it already? But
The
yeah, I
Minato
want
district?
yeah,
I
Minato
think.
district, yeah.
Yeah.
Such an amazing location to visit, to be honest. So much things to see.
I
Mm-hmm.
know recently he also did like the whole cathedrals thing where he did like different styles of
Oh,
the
Yeah.
yeah.
churches as well.
I wonder if there'll be like a mega posting for that. Be like, they're all shared, related in a way.
Yeah. And that's yeah, for me it's yeah, it's pure fun, you know. It's like such a good way to see housing and be like, "Oh, I want to make churches." Like why the heck not? You know what I mean? Why not? Let's just try it. And at some point, he was also working on a series on vans, like some minivans, mobile homes. It was amazing
Yes, I
as well.
remember that.
It's like concept built in a way. It's super cool.
I wanted to do a few concept builds. I know there was a time, hopefully no one remembers, where I did not say that I was going to like do little like bathrooms and stuff of that nature. But I just
Mm,
never came around to it because, I never said that and everything. But, I've
I
been seeing
get
other
it.
designers do it and I live vicariously through them. So thank God for them.
Oh, speaking of bathrooms, this is reminding me a few streams ago we were talking about toilets. Now is the time, Rem. You can
Oh
do a
my
whole bathroom content.
oh my God. Why would you bring this up, Morgan? Why would
You
you?
reminded me of it. It could happen. We can
Out
bring
of
back a
context,
whole era of housing.
it's very fun to hear that out of context. Oh, a few streams ago, we were talking about toilets. Okay.
But
Oh
it's
my
true, we
gosh.
were. Oh my gosh. Oh,
I think it
we
came
need
up
that era of housing back.
it came up in like a faucet or something like that in some picture or something that we saw.
Oh, right. And that was when we were also talking about bidets. We didn't know how
Yes.
they worked.
Yes. Oh my God, Noko, are you gonna build a toilet? Are you gonna do a toilet build? Little bathroom
Just a chuckle.
concept.
Does that mean a yes? The chuckle.
I mean, why not? It can be fun, you know?
Okay, okay. I'm gonna hold it against you. I'll remember this.
Oh no, I'm in danger.
Oh my God. Okay, so you've mentioned you doing a lot of different styles and not like limiting yourself and the commissions that you do accept and everything. So I wanted to ask you, what would you say are your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to designing?
um, let me think. Um, Strength, I would say maybe I know I'm versatile. I'm not scared to do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm fast because I have a lot of time, so I can just go zoom zoom, which is pretty handy. Weaknesses, maybe sometimes I don't know. It's like I should one thing I should learn to say no a little bit. Sometimes I tend to say yes way too fast, and I end up with a lot of comms, and I'm like, oh shit, I have 50 houses to do. What the fuck? Oh no!
Wait,
I should be
five
like
Oh,
zero?
more care.
that's what
Yeah,
he said.
Yeah, my last wait list was 58,
Oh
and because
my.
I had a lot of good
Wow.
ideas, and it was like, okay, every idea is very nice. I can't say no. It's like, how can I say no to something that sounds amazing and fun? So I just said yes to everyone, and I was like, oh shit, and it took like a month to finish everything. So
Oh my
that's my problem.
gosh.
I need to learn to say no a little bit, and maybe as usual, my main weakness would be to try to be even better, try to learn even more about playering, about planning stuff. I know that I evolved in a way that now I don't use much space, which is a bit sad, but well, we all know that the slots are not very cool about it. If you want to make something look very
Yeah.
nice, you have
Yeah.
to cut space. So it's kind of a weakness we all have, and it's a bit sad, but don't trail, copium.
Oh
we will
yeah.
see. We will see
I
how it
hope
goes.
so.
But yeah, that's I would say that's the main thing.
Very, very interesting. And I like hearing designers' perspectives on things that, they think that they're really good at, and also hearing their weaknesses too, because half of the times, like with Morgans, I can use Morgans as an example. Like he says, like, he's not the best when it comes to doing things like clutter. But then you look at some of his builds and you look at some of the clutter he does, and it's like, how is this one of, like, something that you like struggle with? So it's really interesting to hear from the designers themselves, because when you just look at their builds and you find like a liking for them, you're like, wow, this is so. And like we aspire to be like them. They're When we first started out, we all looked up to some designers, right? And we think that everything that they do is just so beautiful, but to find out from them how they struggle, or some things that they don't really, that doesn't come to them as easy, and we get to be like, oh wow, I would not have been able to tell unless you didn't say this. And it's also, I like to also hear designers acknowledge what they're good at, because I feel like for some reason, when I came into the community, and this is not just housing, it's 14 as a whole, I felt like people were so afraid to have pride and confidence in their own shit that they do across all communities in the game, and that baffled me. Like the only community that I saw that took pride in being great or being one of the best at what they do was the raiding community. The first world raiders. They are the ones who so when I came and I was like, yeah, hopefully I can, ruffle that pattern and get people to be a little bit more confident. And it's okay to say, you know what? I am good at this. This is one of my strengths and I'm proud of it. And so that's like my little side goal with asking, questions like these, because I like to hear people talk good about themselves and just have a moment to, just express that, okay, you know what, I do have things that I suck at, or things that I'm not that good with, but I also do have things that I'm really good with. And I'm glad that you pointed out your versatility as one of them, because you are very versatile. I could never box you in. Even if I tried and gathered 100 men behind me to try to box it, we could never make it happen, ever. So very much 110% agree with you on that. And I'm glad that you notice your strengths as well.
I think yeah, it's pretty important to feel proud and be confident about yourself, but it's not it's like being proud and confident about yourself has nothing to do with having an ego. And I think it's also why a lot of people sometimes are maybe even scared to feel proud about themselves, because
Mm-hmm.
they might think that it can be perceived as having a big ego, which is not the case. Like when you have a big ego, you are looking down on
On
people.
people,
But
yeah.
when you are proud and confident about yourself, you look up to people, and you can be you can recognize your strength, and that's kind of like a message I want to share to potential new designers. If we have some in chat, people that are maybe not super happy with what they do and they don't know if they are good at it, it's okay to feel good about what you do. You can be proud about yourself and just, be confident about what you do, feel happy about it, have fun, most importantly, but always keep looking up on other people, helping other people, be nice, be chill, and this is the way to really feel good about it. Is to, be confident, know your strength, know that what you do has value, but never forget that we are all in the same boat and we are all sharing with each others. So that's the big difference between being comfy about it and having an ego.
I love that response so much. Oh my gosh. I I agree with everything you said.
Like I'm gonna talk about Vanzel again. So Vanzel, if you see that, hi, hello, how you doing? But that's also why I love this guy so much, is because he's one of the absolute mad lads of housing. I mean, his skills are fucking incredible, but he's very humble. You can chat with him, he will help you out. He will never say that he's the best, like, oh yeah, I'm super good, blah, blah, blah. No, he's super chill, super nice, and he shares what he does. Every time you want to do something that he has done in one of his builds, he's like, oh yeah, do it. Yeah, fine. And he
Mm-hmm.
will also explain to you how he did it. He will train you, he will help you. Multiple times he gave me challenges like, oh, you want to do something fun? Yeah, let's try to do this just for the fun of it. And I think it's a very good example and what we should all strive to be. Be good and be confident about ourselves, but always be helpful to other people and never look down on anybody. Even someone that is completely new, that doesn't know how to float things properly, how to glitch things properly, maybe their builds will not be perfect, but that's part of the fun. You want to improve and you have to help each other's. Like when I started, I was very bad at it. My first builds are terrible, but I got a lot of amazing designers I was looking up to and still looking up to that helped me. And I was seeing them like as freaking gods. I was like, holy shit, this person is so fucking good. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, oh no, you're doing great. Maybe you can try this and try that. Trust me, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And they would look at my stuff and help me, push me forward. And it was an amazing experience. And this is what we should all do.
No, absolutely. I 110% agree with you. And yeah, I just love that aspect about the community. I know that it's been, some questionable things here and there, but you can't really escape that.
Hmm.
But I mean overall, it has a lot of beneficial
Yeah.
things.
I think the good so far has outweighed, the sort of bad things that have happened so
Yeah,
far.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. That's very true. Like I think I pretty much have no bad stories about housing. I never
Oh.
had something very fucky happen to me. So I think I got pretty lucky. It's only good vibes so far.
That is, you are actually, you kind of just
I
caught.
know he's going ahead of us. Because I was about to ask something relevant to that, but I guess no, you kind of answered. I'll still say the question anyway, because in case somebody wants to know. The question I was going to ask before you continued was that have you ever been faced with negative feedback? But you just mentioned that you've always had this like good positive vibe. So it's like,
Yeah, most of the time, yeah, it's always positive vibes. I only have two cases which are a bit
Ooh.
negative, but it's not much, to be honest. It's not even drama or big stuff. It's pretty chill. Oh, I see
Um,
I see Spoon in the chat. He's my FC leader. Hello, Spoony boy. He's my bro. I only had two small situations that were not super great. The
Ooh.
first one was like a commission a long time ago, and the person was weird. Like they would
Oh.
take hours to respond every time, and sometimes they would just
Mhm.
disappear in the middle of a conversation. So I was like, "Oh, should I do that?" And they would be like, "Oh yeah, sure." Then I would ask, "So can I do this?" And then no answer for like 6 hours. And I was in the middle of the thing, like, "Oh, so what should I do?" It was a bit annoying. So because of that, the commission took a long time to finish.
Mhm.
And I really stick to the letter to what they wanted to have. They wanted to have a kitchen, a living room, a bathroom on the side, in that specific theme, in that specific way. So I was pretty much like, I respected the demand. And at the end, they were like, "Oh, actually, can we swap this room with like another bedroom? And can we swap this and put this here? Can we completely turn around the build?" And I was like, "But it's already done, man. You accepted a lot of things as I was going." And they were not rude. One thing I want to say, they were not like a bad person or anything. It was good vibes, but they were a bit hard to handle because they wanted me to change everything after accepting what I was starting to do. So at some points I just said, "You know what, I don't want to do it anymore. Just take back your money." And I just repaid everything that was paid, and I just moved on. I just quitted from that. I told them, "Okay, if you want to change this yourself, be my guest, but I'm done here. Take your money and bye." I didn't want to do it anymore. But yeah, it's things that are in my terms that were not respected. So I had the right to move at that point. But it only happened once. I'm very fortunate about it. I'm very happy
Yeah.
about it. I got extremely lucky with my clients. I always have amazing clients, which is incredible. I think I'm extremely lucky about it. I'm friend with a lot of them as well.
Mhm.
Usually, I also chat a lot with my clients before starting to kind of test the ground and be like, "Okay, is this person very chill?" And I'm usually good at getting a sense of the person. Like, I don't know how to explain, but I can smell it if someone wants to scam me or if someone is weird and not really respectful. I got my nose is tingling and telling
You
me
got that
no,
housing
don't do that.
instinct.
So I got pretty much I know how to avoid these situations. But the
Mhm.
second one, which was completely my fault here, by the way,
Oh.
it was for an FC I was a part of. And at some point, they wanted me to do the house. You can already smell the thing coming, I think. A large
Oh.
FC. We were like hundreds of people inside. So,
Oh.
of course, some people wanted to keep the space open and some not. At the end of the day, we went for a 2-floor design to cut the apple in half. It was like, okay, we are a lot of people. We use the place a lot. So I'm not gonna make something tiny. I'm gonna do my best to make it very open. And it was nice. We kept the house for a very, very long time, and people were happy with it. We were using it for events and stuff. And one day I log in and I see that there is an event going on, a housing event, but I was not booked or anything about it. I was not aware of it. So I was like, that's weird. Okay, so what's happening? I came in the house and they were basically just destroying everything to make something together as FC housing event. And I was like, but why am I not aware of it? I mean, I paid for everything from my pockets and people were still entering the house. And
Mm-hmm.
it was basically just the officers of the FC that wanted to do it between each others. So it was like a tiny group inside the large FC that just wanted to fuck around with the house. And I remember the house was an absolute piece of garbage at the end. We had stuff everywhere. You had no theme whatsoever. It was just a bunch of random items thrown all over the place on 3 floors, and it wasn't even item capped. So I was like, yeah, the house is great now. And it's like it felt so bad to feel like I was completely left on the side, not poked or anything. And it's like, yeah, it feels bad. So after 2 or 3 months, I decided to redo the place. I was like, okay, so the event is past. Okay, you had fun with the house. Now let's have a cool house. Let's have something good. And
Mm-hmm.
we were multiple designers in the FC, so we talked to each other's like, okay, so do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? Who should do it? At the end of the day, nobody was up to do it, so I just said, okay, yeah, fuck it, I will do it again. I redid the house, and a couple days after, the officers just came in and started to tear it down while ignoring me. So at some point, I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm out. And I just left the FC.
Wow.
What? That
Yeah, that was
is.
a great time. So yeah, that was my second bad experience, but it was because I thought I was close to these people. I thought they were friends. So I thought I could,
Hmm.
put energy and invest myself into the FC to try to share what I'm good at, because when you are in an FC, if you are very good at raiding, maybe you will be the guy to organize the raid groups. If you have a lot of free time, maybe you will be the guy to recruit and try to chat with, you have strength in a bunch of different things, and you should use these strengths to help your FC. And
Mm-hmm.
since housing was my stuff, I was like, yeah, I will take care of the FC house. And the guy who is super good at raiding, he's doing the raids and stuff, and we are organized. But instead, I got pretty much fucked over and wasn't feeling good. So yeah, that's my second story. But
Um,
that's about it. Except from these two cases, nah, all good. So as you said earlier, the good outweighed the bad, like a
yeah.
lot.
And I wanted to quickly mention, because I know before you mentioned that second story, you said that you felt that you were at fault. I don't think so, because you mentioned that they didn't really like mention anything to you. It was just all out of the blue. So I don't think you're at fault.
I still think I'm at fault because my view on housing is different than most people. Like for most people, housing is just a casual, fun side thing. It's not important. It's not, it's not a big deal at all. Like you do your house so you can move around. They don't design. See what I mean? They don't spend so much energy and time about it. So for them, it's like, yeah, whatever. And it's not meant in a bad way. For them, yeah, it's like
Hmm.
they just wanted to have fun, and the house was up for a long time, so they thought, hey, let's do the house again. But they didn't know that it would mean so much to me because I'm just so deep into it and I care too much about it compared to a lot of
Hmm.
people. So it's
Mm,
still kind
I
of
don't
on
know.
me.
I mean, I can
Like,
understand your point, but like at the same time, I'm like, they could have still given you, like a message, like a notice, like, hey, we're doing this event. And
yeah,
like,
true. Yeah,
so
true.
that's why
But
I'm thinking
yeah,
you're not, you shouldn't blame yourself for that.
yeah, I kind of, not kind of, I 110% agree. Um, and also, I don't think that they don't care about housing as much as we do. Because if you were to try to design one floor for them, bitches are gonna complain. They're gonna complain about not having enough space. They care. They 110% care. Um, it also, you having like that sentiment of, okay, you rate, you're good at rating, you handle the rating scene. I'm the housing person in the FC. I can handle the designs and stuff of that nature. I have been the housing person in the FC, and I've also done that. And those FCs, the FC that I was the housing person in, it was a rating FC primarily. And I let them do their thing. And they tell me how much space they want, how far they want to be able to zoom out and stuff of that nature. And I design the FC house to fit whatever they want. So I really don't like FCs and housing. I really don't like it. It should not.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
It's tricky.
I'm trying to find the nice thoughts. I'm looking for it. I'm searching for it. I don't know. And the common denominator that I'm hearing in all of these stories that designers have when it comes to FCs, if y'all run an FC, please check your fucking officers. Do a background check at this point, because it's never the FC leader. It's never the like second in command. It's always the officers. It's always the officers. Y'all need to really vet these people who you're putting in your officer positions, because they are problematic as fuck. Problematic as fuck. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's super important to pick your officers to be very careful about that.
Because even for me, and one experience is enough for me. That one experience I had with that FC ruined it for every other. I've had so many people reach out to me to design their FC house, but I'm sorry, I don't care how nice the commissioner is. The commissioner is usually always nice. And you see the other people in your FC, I don't fuck with them bitches. No shade. You're nice. I love you. But the other house, I don't know about them, because I remember I did the design, right? Now, this was in my earlier days. Whenever I do one floor builds, I try to still make it be wall to wall. So it's still spacious. So they can't complain that they can't run around. I take all of those things into consideration. And then there was one officer in the FC who just kept, he could never be pleased at all. So then I complete the design, make the post and everything. 2 days later, the client messages me and tells me, "Hey Ram, I'm so sorry, but one of the officers deleted the design." And that just annoyed me. Like, it's not the leader. If it was the FC leader, I'd be okay. You're the leader. You're the leader. But for I just think that's way more like disrespectful, and it's more aggravating, because you don't have, you shouldn't have that much power. You shouldn't have that much power to do something like that. I don't know. I just, I don't deal with FCs anymore. I to keep my peace of mind, it's a no for me. That's just what it is.
Yeah, such a situation.
Yeah. But going back a bit about how you mentioned, admiring housing in general from an earlier point, are there any designers in the community that you admire?
Well, I got two just in front of me to start.
Okay, besides us.
Beside you, a lot, to be honest. Like, I would try
You
to
can give a
put
list.
all the names, but holy shit, that's a lot. I really appreciate Danny. Danny became my bud. Hello, Danny in chat. I love her so much. She helped me a lot, and I appreciate her design a lot. Every time she sends me something, like a screenshot of something she's working on, like, "Noko, I did this, I don't like it." And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? It's a banger. Shut up. It looks amazing. Bright Dancer, which is a good friend now, and she's amazing as well. uh, Wenzel, Erich, Alois, Astra, so many people, like basically everyone in the mostly housing server.
Mm-hmm.
I look up to them a lot. A lot of Japanese designers as well, but I wouldn't be able to tell their names. I'm following a bunch from Japan, and they have kanjis for their name, so I don't even
Yeah.
know how to pronounce their name. But
Mm.
I got a few I'm looking up to. Tantan, I'm looking a lot at Tantan as well.
Hmm.
Amazing designer. Pretty much everyone already.
Um, Hearing you mention some designers like Bright Dance and Van Zel, so you are primarily based in EU. So there's this question that I thought of earlier that I wanted to ask. So, what do you think differentiates the EU designers from the other regions? What do you think is something that
Oh.
is like within your region?
I think I know because at the end I started in EU, but now I'm everywhere. I recently finally finished my big project of having a character on every single server with the dice unlocked.
Oh,
Now I can
wow.
build everywhere. I got there is no server that can escape me. You cannot escape the potato. But from what I've seen, it's more popular in NA, mostly because you got Dynamis, which is basically free real estate. So you got a lot
Yeah.
of housing enthusiasts in Dynamis, and you got 4 data centers. So more people, more houses on sale. So instantly you have more people in the community, housing community based on NA. um, well, in EU, we only have 2 data centers. So, and Light as a data center is very raiding focused as well. It's a big raiding community here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have less housing enjoyers in Light, which pretty much just, you just have chaos for EU. So we're not a lot into housing in EU. In NA, it's super intense. In Japan, it's extremely intense. They absolutely adore housing over there. In Oceania, uh, not so much. You don't have much people over there, so obviously you rarely have clients in Oceania, but it still happens. From what I've seen, most clients I had in Oceania, it was Japanese people going over there so they could have a house because it's extremely cluttered in the Japanese servers. It's hardcore to get a house over there.
Yeah, for
But yeah,
sure.
I would say we all everywhere I've been, it's the same enthusiasm, but it's just that you have more people in NA and Jap, so
Hmm.
obviously it's more loud. You have more activity, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same vibe. It's just that we
Yeah.
have more people over there.
Different population sizes for the communities.
Yeah, I would say maybe it's my little theory. I don't know if it's true, but in Japan, I think it's extremely popular for a cultural reason. Because in Japan, housing in real life is tough. It's very fucking tough. Like buying a house as a Japanese resident, holy shit, good luck. You know what I mean? It's a
Mm-hmm.
tiny island. The it's very hard to live in Japan as a Japanese.
Hmm.
So I think because it's also very popular to play MMOs in Japan, having an MMO where you can buy a house, you see where I'm going with it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
it's a little fantasy, you know? It's like, oh, it's nice. Maybe you live in a tiny, tiny apartment in Tokyo, but at least you are playing a game with your friend and you can have a mansion inside.
Yeah.
So I feel because of that, maybe it's because, yeah, maybe it's why it's very popular in Japan. Um, and I think, yeah, it plays a role inside.
For sure. I never even thought about like the external factors. that could come into it as well. So thank you for bringing that up. It actually puts it into so much perspective too, because I know for me, um, being from the Caribbean, I, in the sense of, I didn't want a house in mist for that reason, because I already, live where I can see beaches, and I don't want to teleport to my house and came and see it. It just kind of makes me squirm a little bit. So that's why, I was pushing for a house in um Ishgard, because I've never seen snow. So for me, that was kind of like my fantasy for housing. That's why I love and appreciate Ishgard more than where I
Mhm.
am right now. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like a form of escapism in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I'm in Shirogane because I absolutely adore the Japan culture. So we can say I'm a weeb. So being in Shirogane, it feels very nice. It's like, yeah, that's definitely a place I would go in real life.
For sure, for sure. I see a lot of people can relate to ISO as well, liking the goblet because it's cold where he lives. Rex liking goblet because there's no mountains where Rex lives. So yeah, you hit the, I always butcher this. You hit the nail on the,
On the coffins.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't get it right. Maybe one day. Maybe on season 10, I'll get it right. You know?
Whoa! Why so far out?
Oh my gosh. Funny because I don't like the goblet at first. No, I agree. Goblet definitely grew on me as well. And I think another thing to consider when it comes to housing districts is the way the plots are facing. Like the largest in lavender beds and goblet, side facing plots, top tier. Love them. Love them so much.
Yeah. Goblet is nice in the center, but on the sides, not so much. The
Oh.
area with the pool it's pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I love it.
Hmm.
I love it.
What are your thoughts on the Mountain View plot?
Um,
Is that 30?
in
Like 30/60?
Yeah, 30/60. Yeah, and a little small next to it.
I think they are pretty cool. Yeah, because they are
Yeah.
isolated a little bit. Like it's
Mhm.
like you are on your little rock on the side. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm a plot 60 baby. That's where my personal is right now.
I love that plot location. It's so secluded.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice.
Hmm. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna go back into another question here. And the question is, what's something you wish you knew now that you didn't when you started?
When I started the game in general, or just the housing part of it?
It could be the game, housing, both.
Mhm.
However you want to approach it.
Yeah.
I would say sorry, I'm taking some time to think about it.
No, take your
Okay.
time. Take your time.
I think I would say, yeah, how open the community is, because one thing I was scared of when I tried, and I think it slowed me a little bit in my early days as a designer, I thought it was competitive, because it's like, okay, people are paying designers to do their houses. So obviously, when you take a commission, you take it instead of someone else. So maybe there is some form of competitivity. And I didn't want to have that. I just wanted to have fun and vibe. And I was a bit scared that the community in housing was competitive. Also because I was a raider before, and it's very competitive in raiding. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I hope people are nice. You know what I mean? And I didn't expect people to be that nice, and it was pretty overwhelming. And when I realized it, when I started to meet other designers, and the first one I actually talked to was Henklander. Um, it was the first person I actually interacted with between designer, and she invited me in the mostly housing server. We started to vibe. And this is where I started to meet other designers as well. And I was like, holy shit, people are actually super cool in this game. And it's unlocked me and it's allowed me to push things farther because they helped me to make my card, make my Discord, make my. Actually, Danny kicked my butt so I could make a Discord because I didn't want to have one at first.
I'm glad she did. Very glad she did.
Yeah, she was like, Noko, what the fuck are you doing? Make a Discord right now. And yeah, I'm glad I did it. It was the best call possible. It was amazing. It helped me so much. So yeah, that's probably the thing I hoped I would know from scratch, because at first I was scared, and when I got to know everyone, I got more confidence and I was less scared to hunt for more commissions and to try to grow inside the community.
For sure. Honestly, I kind of think I felt the same way at the start, especially with the whole, like, once there's like any type of payment involved, you feel like you are kind of competing amongst other people because it's like, okay, well, I need to be a certain way for them to come to me over so many other designers for me to design their work, you know? So I
Yeah.
definitely understand that sentiment.
But at the end of the day, I mean, there are way more people asking for houses than we have designers around. So just do what you like, just do your best, just have fun, and people will contact you in the end. Because some people will, it's just a statistic. Some people will prefer your work, some other people will prefer some other work. So you will always have clients as long as you are having fun and doing your best. And when I realized that, yeah, this is where it really started to explode.
Especially now that we have Dawn Trail coming up, there's going to be an even bigger gap between how many designers we have and how many people wanting houses,
Yeah,
decorated.
I would just say that also again, if we have new designers in the chat, yeah, don't be scared to take commission. Like if you are having fun and you think you do good things, just go for it. Like really, don't think twice. We have a lot of designers around from every horizon, and we have space. We will not bite you. We will not be like, oh no, a new designer. It's actually the opposite. It's amazing for us when a new designer arrive on the scene. It's like an
Right.
event. It's like, oh, that new person, they're amazing.
They become
yeah.
the talk of the communities for a while.
I think we're all just
Oh.
like excited to see how like each new person or how each designer is going to like showcase what they like and what they're into and how they're gonna go about, designing it. I think
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier to tell, okay, this designer loves doing concepts. So if I ever have like concepts in mind, or I wanna be able to look up something, this is the designer that I go to. Or if there's someone who just excels at doing some more commercial things, then you can think of designers like Tej or Laura, and stuff like that. If you want
Oh my god. Tej is
some
amazing.
amazing with the type of designs he creates. If you're looking for lore friendly bills, you have designers like Morgans, you have designers like Vansel. You can name Vansel in every category, so I don't even that's just like a given, but
He's done a bit of everything at this point.
everything. And
I think he's our dad. He's the dad of the community.
I mean, he's Uncle Vansel. He is Uncle Vansel after all, and he does
more than
have
4 years of designing.
his program where he gives some free designs as well. So honestly, that's what Vansel does. Vansel is just amazing across the board. I think He does a lot for the community, I will say. He does a lot. Very innovative, very innovative. But yeah, it's pretty dope. Pretty dope little community we have here. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat to see what everyone is saying so far. Yes, Partner.
Oh, somebody mentioned the slots.
Oh, you guys are putting a lot of hope into the Dawn Trail and how much housing.
It better be at least 50. I hope.
You might get 15.
Nah,
1-5.
don't say that.
I mean, one designer have to be realistic for the bunch of delusional design.
No.
Other, yeah. What do you mean?
No, let us be delusional.
Nah, I'm gonna keep y'all. I'm gonna keep you guys in with your reality checks.
No, it's got to be 50.
50 or nothing, square. 50 or nothing.
100 would be amazing too, but I'm not expecting that much.
You might
Just
get the
wait
2
for the double.
zeros. You might get the 2 zeros before the 1.
Wow.
And not the 1 before the 2 zeros. Oh my god. Okay, guys, we are heading towards the end, so this is gonna be the last few questions for segment 2 here. So I just wanted to ask you, Nokoda, is there anything that you would like to, I know you've given a few, pointers and perspectives here and there, but is there any like personal tips or advice you would like everyone to know?
About housing, taking commissions in general?
Anything. However this question resonates with you and your soul. You speak from the heart.
Okay, I'm gonna just think for a second to phrase it correctly.
No problem.
I would say open yourself as much as possible to others and focus on the fun and the good time you can have with people, and housing just as a way to achieve it. Pretty much. Like, see housing as a game inside the game, and you can use it as a tool to elevate yourself and get in touch with people and just have fun. It's like, yeah, we are just playing a game at the end of the day, so we should not feel scared about it. We should not stress about it. We should just have fun and learn to talk to each others and help each others and just have that good vibe going on.
I 110% agree with you, and that's why you're doing it, right? If you're playing a game, you have to play it to enjoy it. It's no point in you trying to do something that you aren't having a good time doing. So I do think that's important for us to remember, and not just for housing, but in general, with everything, every endeavor that we choose to take for ourselves. Okay, so there's this one question that I usually ask all my guests on the show, to end off the segment.
Ooh,
So
spooky.
yeah. Okay, and that question is there anyone you'd like to know more about to be a guest on the podcast potentially?
Ooh, That's a tricky question because there are so many people, and
that's why it's the last question. It seems simple, but
you get caught off guard.
Exactly. Yeah, I got completely caught off guard. I would be tempted to say Val as a guest.
Oh.
Because I don't know if it's just me who were living under a rock, but I feel like she's recent. At least I didn't see her design a long time ago. I
Mm-hmm.
started to see her design on YouTube actually. I
Oh.
was because on my channel I subscribe to a lot of housing other housing channels just so my algorithm will feed me housing. And at some point, she just popped in my recommendation. At that point, her channel was it was still the beginning. She had like 2 or 3 videos up,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I started to see her things and thought, oh, this person will most likely go big because it's amazing what she does. And recently, with the Netflix build,
Mhm.
all the concepts, she's doing a lot of break it downs as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I always respect people that do that because I'm too lazy to do it, and I'm not super good with Photoshop and everything. So I'm very bad at it. But I would like to make more. So when I see a designer doing it a lot, it feels great. It's like, oh, this person really goes deep and is very, and it shows that they want to share a lot also, which is important. So
Mhm.
between well, yeah, with all the conceptual builds that she's done and the stuff I've seen on housing tools, yeah, I would be curious to know more.
I 110% agree with you. And I think when a designer does concepts or primarily is known for doing concepts over rather doing like, the full build, I think their thought process might be way different than designers who are more so more common with doing complete builds. So I think I definitely, do agree with you. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
great suggestion. Great suggestion. Um, okay, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of segment 2. So that is a wrap for the interview portion. So now we are officially in the third segment where we give our closing remarks and stuff. So Nakoda, is there anything that you'd wish to say?
Um, I'm very happy and humbled to have been part of that interview. It feels quite unreal to me since I've been looking up to everyone in chat. I see a lot of names in chat I'm a big fan of. You two guys, I've been looking up your builds when I was a baby again, so it's like, holy shit, I'm there, you know? So it feels like kind of personal achievement, and I really thank you a lot for inviting me today and also adjusting your time for it. I appreciate it a lot.
Of course, of course.
Mhm.
Margie, my lovely
Oh,
co-host.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Nokoda, for taking time out of your schedule. I hope it's not too late for you right now. I think the time zone difference is like 8 hours.
It's okay. No, I can definitely stay more. It's all right for me right now.
Well, I hope you don't. I hope you get some sleep. Oh, but thank you for coming along. It was a good interview, and thank you as well to for the earlier gifts for the stream.
Oh my gosh,
Hmm.
yes.
I need to go back. ISO, there we go. I didn't want to vaguely say thank you. I wanted to say thank you to ISO for those gifted subs.
Um, Thank you both so very much. Um, as usual, I like to end off every episode with just me showing my appreciation for everyone. Because none of this would be possible without you guys in whatever form of support that you show. It's really, really, I'm really grateful for it. Um, Noko, thank you so very much for agreeing to be a guest on the show. I always say, you can spend a lot. I hope y'all don't get tired of this, but I'm always gonna say it. You can spend a lot, you can invest a lot, but there's nothing that's going to be worth more than your time. So for everyone to invest your time into little old me, you know, a little island boy from the Caribbean with a little dream. I truly, truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you so, so, so very much. Thank you again for agreeing to be a guest on the show. It's been lovely picking at your brain and just hearing things from your perspective because, like I said, ever since I've been looking at you, you've grown a lot as a designer, and I'm glad that we've became acquainted. You're amazing. I love your personality. I love your builds just as much. Maybe, maybe a little more because I just appreciate
Mm.
good work and quality, and that is what you produce. And you also have an amazing personality to back it up as well. So thank you for that, Morgan. Thank you again for agreeing to be my co-host for this season. You are amazing. It's a pleasure working alongside you and just having your energy. I know that there's a lot of things that I may not be able to offer on my own. And I love that you add something, you add a different dynamic to the show. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful to have you here, to have your presence. To the viewers, thank you guys so very much for watching. Those of you who watch live, those of you who watch the VODs, I know I am kind of lacking on the uploads. I will try my very best to get them up so it's there permanently. But yeah, I just really wanted to say thank you to you guys. ISO, thank you for taking my breath away today with all of those gift subs. You are amazing. I appreciate you so, so, so very much. And I hope, I always say this, I hope that I give you guys and continue to give you guys a reason to show the support. I hope that you never feel like you wasted your time investing so much of your resources, whether that's your time, your money, whatever it is. I just hope that you guys never feel like you didn't, misuse that. So thank you so very much. I want to say thank you to all the new viewers, the new chatters. Thank you to the lurkers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Um, and yes, I just want to give you guys a hug. I just want to collectively give you guys a huge hug because I truly, genuinely am appreciative. With that being said, again, this is the Creative Minds podcast where I dive into the minds of some of our favorite designers and creators within the community. The episodes are usually on the first and third Saturday of every month at 7 p.m. EST. But put a little asterisk next to the time because I am considering tweaking it just a
Oh,
little bit so more people can be involved and be a part of the show. So thank you guys so much for your support and love. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye, guys.
good night.
Good night.